Okay, so before I get on the road today, let's go ahead and dive into part 3. When we left off on the last video, we discussed Alexee being in the bathroom, her possible state of mind, the medication she was on. Keep in mind those medications do interact with each other. It does say to monitor closely. And now she has opened up the door and she has went back into her room. So now we have the staff that's outside. And again, these are facts that we could see on video camera and through testimony. So we see that Chris goes into the bathroom. According to him, he looks around, looks in the trash, checks the toilet. He sees some, blood on the floor. Looks like it's been cleaned up, but doesn't see anything else. According to him, he sees nothing in the trash at all. Okay. He leaves, he goes chit-chats with the other nurses. Lori comes in, Erica comes in. They all basically come in. At one point, Erica even turns around and snaps a picture. Now, mind you, at this point, nobody really knows 100% what happened, but they do know that a pregnant woman has had some sort of mishap, possibly a miscarriage or something, has gone on in that bathroom. And so, Lori's been back and forth now in the bathroom. They're kind of looking at this big mess. She's making fun of Alexee running through the hallways holding herself. And they call the cleaning lady. And so the cleaning lady comes and she starts cleaning up the entire bathroom. She gets the whole bathroom clean. What we see on the camera is that now from the picture that Erica took, we could see that the garbage can has a liner, what looks to be a liner in it. And then we see the garbage can now out in the hallway and that liner is no longer there. Mind you, Alexee is in her room. So we don't know what happened to the liner. Now, when we hear Lila's testimony, we hear that she says that she had grabbed the garbage can to throw it out. And I guess she had noticed it was heavy, looked down, and she saw the baby. We still don't know for any type of facts based on the testimony. Some people are saying that the bag was twisted and wrapped around. Everybody says by the time they went into the hallway and looked at it, the bag was open. Lori says she stuck her hand underneath the bag, and it just untwisted. Then she says it stuck to the baby's face. We know that's not true. We know that she never actually picked up the bag. She never picked the baby up and put the baby back. What she did do is take something, looks like a plastic bag or something, out of the trash, and after the baby was discovered, put it back on top of the baby. And then everybody leaves. Like, they all come in, they look at this, they see the baby, they all walk away and leave the baby in the garbage can in the hallway. Nobody immediately rushes to take him out. There's no urgency. They go and they get the doctor. According to Dr. Vasquez, they come in, they're like, we need you in the hallway right now. She comes out, she looks in the garbage can, but according to her testimony, she says she didn't. But she did. She looks in the garbage can, she sees this. She tells HT, basically puts his hands up like, say, I don't know, I didn't do nothing. And then him and Dr. Vasquez take the baby into a room. Now, at the very beginning, pinned video, it says, there's like a little warning thing on there, and you'll see, if you look closely, also if you actually go to the video itself on YouTube, you'll actually see where you could see them working on the baby in this little side room. The camera kind of catches a little peep of it. And you could see where the baby's lifted up out, put onto the gurney. You could see the baby's black hair, so on and so forth. Nobody there ever admits to opening up the trash bag, ripping it open, or any of that stuff. But for whatever reason, this baby is in an open bag. That we know. And so, according to their original statements to police, nobody touches the baby. The baby's considered evidence. They don't want to contaminate the crime scene. Later on, they're saying that they checked for vitals, and there wasn't any, so they chose not to even attempt resuscitation. They pronounced the baby dead at 2:30-something a.m. Now, at this point, Dr. Vasquez is like, nobody's going to go in. Nobody's going to talk to the patient. We're not going to tell her anything until the police get here. She's just been cleaned up. Remember, Dr. Vasquez is like, she was bleeding out. She didn't really know what to do. She calls up Loveless. She calls for an ultrasound. She gets all this stuff into play. They had called 911. Before the ultrasound, before anything else can be done, 911 arrives. At this point now, they immediately spin a story to the police. And we do catch all of this on camera. Immediately, HT's like, oh, she killed this baby, and she put it in the garbage can. And everybody's like, yes, she killed the baby. Something that nobody knew. Nobody knew for a fact. Listen, at this point, we all know it was her, but there was no evidence. They had no way to prove that it was. Nobody had been in the bathroom before her. So there was none of that. So what how much egg would have been on their face if the story ended up turning out different and it wasn't her, it was somebody beforehand. But I'm just saying. That just goes to show about spinning the narrative. So HT immediately started spinning the narrative to the cops, and everybody just went with it. Immediately, she was this woman who had ended the life of her child and threw it in a garbage can and suffocated and all this other kind of stuff. Now, at this point, they go in, and Dr. Vasquez needs to tell Alexee that she's being airlifted to Loveless. And so the two police officers are there, HT's there, Dr. Vasquez is there, and Dr. Vasquez is like, listen, you know, we found a dead baby in the garbage can, and her mother's like, what? Like, oh my God, completely in shock, devastated, and Alexee's like, it just came out of me, I didn't know what to do, and she was like, Alexee, what did you do? We talked about this, all I ever asked you was to tell me the truth, and then she was like, I was scared, and later on, her mom does question her, she's like, what'd you do? She's like, I just put it in there. And that is very telling, and I'll tell you why. Because in this moment, remember that Alexee has been on all of this medication. She has lost a significant amount of blood that she has to be airlifted. You know, the doctor has says at this point she's making sure that her patient doesn't die. And so despite all of that, despite the altered confusion and the panic and all of the trauma that is happening right now to her and around her, she just blurts out these statements. And anybody who has ever heard these statements or worked in the legal field, police officers, any of that kind of stuff, knows that most of these spontaneous utterances is where you're going to find the bulk of your truth. They will just blurt something out, and that is where their truth lies. And they always try to go back and change it later. But in her case, she was like, it just came out of me. It wasn't breathing. It wasn't breathing. It wasn't moving. There was nothing. I just put it in there. Those are all very telling because it shows that this baby wasn't born alive. It shows that the baby wasn't breathing, wasn't moving. It shows that she didn't, yes, as much as she wanted to hide what just happened that she blames herself for, she just put it in there. Which is why I kept telling you guys that I believe, and when she put it in there, that bag kind of concaved in because they're really, really big bags in a small garbage can. And that's why it kind of looks like there's this additional liner in there. That is just my thoughts, but there's no evidence of that. So now at this point, the police are kind of watching this interaction. Then after that interaction is done, they basically tell her that she's not free to leave. Ultrasound comes in, they do the ultrasound, HT takes some blood work. All of this is caught on camera because she's being monitored by a police officer the entire time, and then she ends up getting life flighted to Loveless, and from there, everything has played out publicly. Now, that is the story from beginning to end. The last part, I'm going to tell you about the autopsy. I'm going to tell you about the medical examiner, the forensic pathologist report, and then I'm going to tell you my take on everything. So we'll get into that next.